right, so I'm gonna try and make this one as brief as possible. I'm gonna get right into it. Here's like a little sunset here on the beach. It's about to go down behind the mountains in a little bit. So I'm gonna read Daniel 20 to 24 real quick. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My God hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his God. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them, and brake all their bones in pieces, or even they came at the bottom of the den. So this was for me, and I had the season's been rough. It's been really rough. And so I just was praying about this. I had a dream late last year that I'm going to share. And God, as I was reading through the Bible, hit this part of the story in Daniel. And this portion of the story hit me in my spirit hard, because it made so much sense of this dream that God gave me. So this was late last year, and just going through a rough time. I had this dream where I was on the beach, kind of like this, and there was a man and a woman. They walked up to me, and it's almost like they were forcing me to walk with them. They didn't grab me or anything, but I was like forced to walk with them into this kind of small little shelter house looking thing on the ocean. So it was like on the beach. And so I had this small little pier, and we walked on it, went into the building, and it was like this small shelter for a boat. But it had a garage door over the ocean, which was kind of weird, but that's how it was set up. So I went and walked on the boat, sat on the boat, and this huge storm came. This huge storm with like these really tall waves, and the waves were just like rocking this boat very crazy, like very violently. But I was protected, because on the outside of the shelter, the waves were way worse than what they were inside the shelter. And so I was like, okay. Another part of the story, or this dream, there was a very skinny Caucasian woman. She walked onto the boat. Excuse me, I'm trying not to get these people in the video here until they kind of walk away. But the two people, the man and the woman, they walked onto the boat. Or I'm sorry, the skinny Caucasian woman, she walked onto the boat, looked at me, and was like, hey, are you scared? And so I was scared, but I was like, no, I'm not scared. And so she said, okay, hold on, or something to that effect. And the man and the woman that forced me to get into that little shelter area where that storm was, there was a lion in the back of the boat. And they walked to the back of the boat, and the lion ate them. And so now I'm really freaking out. And then so she told me to get up. The woman that walked on the boat, she told me to get up, and I turned around, and we went to go talk to the lion. And the lion was like super friendly and gave me encouraging words. And so I don't even remember what the lion said. I just know they were encouraging words. And then I got off the boat, walked to the doorway of the shelter, and the only way I can describe it, as I'm in the doorway, I am on the sand on the beach. The ocean is to my right, and there's this huge city to my left. And there was these huge clouds going over the ocean, but they were full of fire. And I knew that it meant like destruction in the dream. And these clouds went, and they were already over the sand, going over the city, about to destroy the city. And so I was asking God, like, what did this dream mean? And so I went through a really rough season, a really crazy season of just like outlandish accusations, like being accused of literally illegal things. And I'm like, dude, I've never done this. What are you talking about? I would go to places and go to read my Bible, or, you know, go to get money to put in an offering, or just things like that. And it was like these accusations just came out of nowhere. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just keep doing what I'm doing, reading my Bible, praying, fasting. You know, I'm just stay doing what I'm doing. In the story, if you read the whole book of Daniel, read the whole chapter, the chapters before and after, Daniel, all he was doing was trying to serve God. That's all he was trying to do. And he was just trying to serve the Lord. And people maliciously accused him and tried to bring accusations against him over some bogus things that they made up, threw him in the lion's den. But then they end up suffering the fate of the trap they set for him. And so that's what God was showing me, that people were setting a trap for me, but I was protected by God. And that at the end of the storm, the lion was going to devour those that accused me. And so I know that was a message for me, but it may be a message for somebody else out there, where you went through a very tough season of just people just on you, trying to set you up, trap you, accuse you of things you did not do. And God wants you to know that he's coming through. He's coming through. You won't even have to say a word. You just got to be silent, trust in him, and he is going to devour your enemies. The trap they set for you, they're falling in it. Your season of being in the den is over. The kings come, roll that stone away, and those that accuse you are getting ready to get put in the den. Now, this second part, this is what God gave me for a specific group of people, because he was bringing something to my attention, watching certain things. And this is a message, and this is going to sound crazy. This is not a threat. I'm not a terrorist. I'm not anything like that. I have to say that because some people will go far left with this. But this is a message directly to the FBI. There was, and you can look it up on YouTube, Google, the news, whatever you want to. About a year ago, they were accusing Orthodox Catholics, or whatever the term was, of being extremist, of having extremist ideologies. And then what came out recently also is if you were buying Bibles and if you were buying guns, or shopping at certain outdoor sports stores, that you're going to be seen as an extremist. God has said enough is enough. That's what God is saying. Enough is enough. And so what God told me as far as a message for the FBI, and they know who they are. It's not the entirety of them. It's a select few people that are abusing certain tools to ruin people's lives on purpose. And they know what they're doing. Majority of them are not doing this, but they know who they are, and they're going to have to answer for it. Come out and come forth to the American people on what you're doing and how you're accusing people and how you're labeling people that are Christians that just have biblical values as terrorists. Our God is going to come through and expose you for what you are, and no stone will be left unturned. You can either come forth and admit to the American people what you all are doing, and correction will come forth that way. Our God's going to come through and people are going to come forth and expose everything you're doing. No stone is going to be left unturned, and you're going to lose credibility for a whole generation. God has said enough is enough. And I'm not talking about the Trump, MAGA. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about regular people holding Christian values that are Bible believers that just happen to like the outdoors, like guns, and are buying Bibles and sharing their faith, but you're marking them as extremists. You're spying on them and you're surveilling on them, and you're doing illegal and unconstitutional things. Enough is enough. That is what God is saying. Enough is enough. You will have a time to come forth, and if you don't, everything will be exposed.